Hello everyone and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. So in the last episode, shenanigans happened. Several deaths happened. And of course some frustrations on my part happened. And yes, it has just been a rough go of it. There has been just trial and tribulation again and again. But I mean, at least we had the whole thing with Octavia and kind of helped her out. Maybe it'll help me in the end. But then again, this all may come to an abrupt end very soon, because now we have to deal with Gaius Tempest and justice for all. As you approach the steps of the prefecture today, a line of Legion soldiers wearing red cloaks bar your path. They are the personal guard of the provincial overseer. Has Gaius Tempest graced you with his august presence? You enter only after presenting your judge's signet to the guard. The common room of the prefecture is remarkably quiet and deserted. All the petitioners have been chased away. The judges and gendarmerie do not dare leave their offices. Everyone is afraid to breathe. The overseer, the emperor's own brother, has arrived completely unexpectedly. The guards standing watch say you are expected at the prefect's office. You are escorted upstairs. Elborn is visibly anxious. The honored guest is there, reclining in the prefect's comfortable chair. His crimson fur-trimmed cloak cast over its back is Overseer Gaius Tempest himself. You bow deeply to the Overseer. He acknowledges your presence with a quick nod and turns back to Elborn. Well, Elborn, I'm positively incensed to see what has become of the city under your care. I put you in this seat to instill order under imperial law, but you've given the commoners too many freedoms, and now they are revolting against their lot in the emperor's rule, plotting, forming secret societies, and now an explosion in Anazet, an attempt on the magistrate's life. Everyone in the city is talking about some group called the Last Straw. This is unthinkable. Elborn accepts the blame without any sign of emotion, but you notice the muscle twitch behind the wrinkles on his face. I've ordered the secret chancellery to deal with this Last Straw, but their leader, a low-born woman named Sophia, is still at large. Last night I ordered a Legion squad to set a trap for this Sophia. We almost had her, but then an Archnean appeared and attacked the soldiers. Elborn glances at you, confused, and Elborn glances at you, confused, and an unspoken question in his eyes. Did you hear that, Brante? An Archnean defending a low-born woman? But how? Indeed, Prefect. One Anthony Fess, a young Archnean of little note. It seems he now values low-born insurgents more than his high birth, his honor, and his loyalty to the imperial dynasty. Baron Elfero of the Secret Chancellery has been tracking him for quite some time. The young man began mingling with revolutionary rabble and has since lost his mind. Now he swings his sword about in defense of the rights of the common folk. Let us leave the insurgents to the Secret Chancellery. That is their duty. What concerns me, however, is Anthony Fess. My legionnaires were nipping at the insurgents' heels, and then this Archnean appeared and murdered 5 soldiers. Those poor souls were utterly flummoxed, unsure whether to fight back or humbly accept their death at the hands of an Archnean. The mind boggles, Your Eminence. An Archnean has broken the law for the sake of the common estate. May I assume Your Eminence has a plan for this Sir Fess? Would that I had even a semblance of a plan. What a sordid predicament. Anthony Fess is a traitor who has committed a great offense against the crown, yet he is an Archnean. I shudder to think that might happen were he to be I shudder to think what might happen were he to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This has never happened in all of the province's history. The Archnean dynasties will not tolerate it, and Archduke Milanatus will be swift to take advantage of the situation and undermine my authority in the province. Your Eminence, the law of the Empire is the same for all its subjects. Perhaps it would be better to have its power demonstrated once and for all. Sir Fess challenged more than the soldiers of the Legion. He challenged the rule of the Emperor himself. Elborn, what did I just tell you? Prosecuting an Archnean would represent an even greater threat to my authority. Find another way. This Fess is young and hot-tempered, so push him to the breaking point in the courtroom. Get him to draw his sword. Let everyone see him for the dangerous traitor he is. Even for an Archnean, this would be an unforgivable transgression. Not even the Archduke would dispute a verdict against him. Gaius Tempest's gaze focuses on you. How do you do your best to show no emotion and remain as invisible as possible until the overseer gives you permission to speak. Jesus, my mouth. Judge Brante, you're here for a reason. You will handle the prosecution. Of course I will. I'd rather have Sir Prefect deal with this mess of a case himself, but he's too powerful to risk if it fails. Rest assured, many nobles and Archnians will demand you set him free no matter how much evidence you have against him. The traitor Fess must be punished, but I ask you to ensure that my reputation remains untarnished. I have no intention of going down in history as the overseer who allowed our inviolable Archnian rights to be compromised. That would be crossing the line. Prepare your case. I'm sure my diplomacy will help me out a great deal. Gaius Tempest rises from his seat in the blink of an eye and walks out, escorted by his guards. For a few seconds, utter silence fills the prefect's office. Then, at long last, Elborn feels he no longer has to restrain himself. He blames me for what's going on? Me, his most loyal human. No, I will do everything I can to have that criminal punished. Do you realize how much it will advance our cause if we can get that Archnian condemned in the court of law? This is the only way we can instill the rule of law in these lands, Brante. The overseer insists that the trial be scheduled for tomorrow. Anthony Fess has been located. He was found and surrounded by gendarmes on the street. However, he did not resist and gave his word of honor to stand trial. You barely have time to prepare the charges before entering the courtroom. The normally half-empty seats in the courtroom are crowded today. The highest ranks of the aristocracy and the most noble families and dynasties all focus their gaze on you as soon as you step inside. In the depths of the courtroom, you notice Octavia Milanatis, surrounded by her retinue of young ladies. The Archduke's daughter watches the trial unfold with a wry, indifferent smile. Thanks for all your help. You ascend to the podium. Prefect Elborn himself presides over the board of judges. The courtroom doors swing open, and the defendant Anthony Fess enters, escorted by gendarmes. The young Archnian is dressed in a defiantly modest garb for his status. No embellishments, no jewelry, just a simple linen undershirt. However, he still carries a sword, as expected from a high-born noble. You read the charges as procedure demands. Sir Anthony Fess willfully caused the lesser deaths of 5 soldiers of the Legion, thereby allowing a number of the last straw insurgents to escape punishment. Murmuring fills the rooms. The Archnian's large, dark eyes watch closely, catching every motion in the hall. Then suddenly, Anthony Fess interrupts you to speak for himself. People of Anazet, I was not brought here by force today. I broke the law, and I am ready and willing to be held accountable before all of you. I fought those Legion soldiers and I killed them. Did I violate Imperial law? Yes, I did. Yet does anyone even bother to count the transgressions committed by our rulers on a daily basis? Why does this law exist if no one follows it? I do not accept the law that offers no salvation from eternal tyranny from the common estate. By my birth, I was given the power to rule over humans, but if suffering is all that rule brings, then I reject it. I am ready and willing to sacrifice my very life for the sake of justice, so that all citizens of the Empire will begin to respect the law. The young Archnian's words, loud and desperately audacious, sparked turmoil in the courtroom. The stunned board of judges is at a loss for words. The gendarmes freeze in confusion, and the nobles are terrified. You hear their screams. Madman, pull yourself together. You're no commoner, you're an Archnian. The courtroom is on the verge of exploding with tension. The gendarmes try in vain to placate the audience. The board of judges look to you. As the prosecutor, you must continue reading the charges against the defendant. The fate of the rebellious Archnian is in your hands, but do you have what it takes to make the most of this situation? Well, I can't turn to Octavia for aid. Would be nice if I had that type of help, but I don't. I could acquit him and clear him of all charges, because I have destiny protector of the people. My career will go down by 2, justice will go down by 2, my wealth will go up by 1, and Augustine Elborn will go down by 2 as well. I could provoke the Archnian. My career will go up by 2. Justice will go up by 1. My reputation will go up by 1. Oh, well, there you go. I would get a death. So there you go. Willpower will go down by 5. Manipulation will go up by 1, but my death would be final, and I would get a true death. So I can't do that. Or I can find him guilty as the law demands. If I do this, Augustine will get the promise, and I can do this because I have patronage of the powerful. Order will go up by 1. My career will go down by 1. Justice will go up by 2. Diplomacy will go up by 1. Wonderful. Well, that's about the only reasonable thing I can do in this situation. If I could have provoked him, that would have helped out tremendously, but I cannot, because if I did, I would be screwed. So I have to find him guilty, as the law demands. You exchange glances with Elborn. The time has come to keep the promise you gave him and bring all the nobles, even Archnians, under the rule of law. Elborn nods, determined to support your accusation. You raise your hand in a commanding gesture, calling for attention. With everyone focused on you, Anthony Fess's voice trails off. You continue your opening statement and list in detail all the transgressions committed by the young Archnian noble. 5 counts of assault and murder of an imperial servant, aiding insurgents, and his rebellious statements made just now in court. The evidence is presented next, piece by piece. Summoned to the podium one by one, the reborn Legion soldiers who suffered lesser deaths at Fess's hands confirm your every word. Anthony Fess stares you down defiantly, his gaze full of scorn. The aristocracy bristles at your accusations, even after Fess's call for a revolt. There are whispers in the stalls. What is that judge thinking, trying to convict an Archnian? But you're well prepared. You've earned enough favors in high places. Even the old nobility will have to step back. Magistrate Vermin rises to speak. Judge Brante is young, but he deserves our trust. Even though you pretty much got me killed, you douche. Sir Fess's transgressions against the Empire are heinous, but his views are even more so. The insurgent must face justice, his high birth and lineage notwithstanding. Slowly, reluctantly, the nobles side with their leader. The trial continues, but the outcome is all but decided after the magistrate's speech. The board of judges led by Elborn is ready to deliver the verdict. The other judges are uncertain, but the prefect's eyes are adamant. We find Sir Fess guilty on all accounts for treason and insurgency against the crown. Anthony Fess is sentenced to exile to the Northern Isles. The Fess family will forfeit its estate to the provincial overseer. May this be a lesson to all subjects in this province, regardless of their birth or estate. From now on, no one is above the law. Judges, I accept your sentence. I prepared myself long ago to suffer as the lowborn suffer. But mark my words, justice must be the same for all. I will fight against the old ways until justice and equality reign throughout the Empire. You watch firsthand as the Archnian is stripped of his noble sword and put in chains. Elborn watches too, weary and almost incredulous. You walk to his seat at the head of the board and shake his hand. We did it, Darren. An Archnian in chains. I never thought I'd live to see the day. It's just a shame we had to sacrifice this particular Archnian for our goal. He was the only one of his race who fought for equal justice, but alas, that does not justify his crimes. Still, this case is over now. Get some rest, Brante. You've earned it. A letter arrives soon after the trial bearing the Overseer's seal. Predictably, Gaius Tempest is displeased with the outcome. Sir Judge, I warned you against exactly this kind of impertinence. Now I will face a hail of complaints from all the Archnian dynasties in Magra, each and every Archnian demanding sanctuary from the law. What am I to tell them now? Your myopic decision is most regretful. From now on, I will be more careful when selecting trusted individuals. You file away the Overseer's letter, grab a bottle of fine wine, and head to the prefect's office with it. You may not have won the Overseer's favor this time, but today was a triumph nonetheless. Alright, I'm still a judge. The fight for justice has gone up a little bit. I need to get it to a 7 before the commoners are protected. And I'm a master diplomat. Wonderful. I'm going to die by the end of this chapter, and I know it. I can feel it deep within my soul. Ah, deathbed. Oh, my mother is dying. Not good. Deafening silence fills your home. You are standing by mother's bedside. So are father, Gloria, and Nathan. For an entire day, mother has been feverish, barely conscious. Gloria never leaves her side, not even for a minute. Nathan has even stopped drinking so he can offer your sister his awkward help. Mother's health deteriorated greatly over the past year, and the fighting in the family home has dealt a great blow to her. She has been bedridden for a month. You've been to every doctor and folk healer, but no one can help her. They all tell you the same thing. Lady Lydia's life is in the hands of the twins now. If she passes away, she will not come back. And so you wait by mother's bed in sorrow, hoping that she will regain consciousness. There is a long silence that no one has the courage to break. Then at last you hear Nathan's meek voice. Mother, it's me, Nathan. Can you hear me? Mother suddenly rises on her elbows. She looks around, her eyes unseeing, beads of sweat forming on her pale forehead. My son, where are you? Nathan takes mother by her thin, emaciated hand. She leans closer to look at him, struggling to recognize his face. Stephen, were you playing with your younger brothers in the garden? You must be all dirty. Come here. You may not be my son, but I care for you as though you were my own. Oh, what a nice, happy family we have. A blessing from the twins. Nathan is unsure what to do or say. Father strokes his wife's hair. His eyes are two orbs of searing, indescribable pain. You're a little confused, Lydia. This is Nathan, and the children are all grown up now, remember? Mother's eyes were bright and alive just now, but the next moment they grow dim again. Her head falls weakly back into the pillow. You're right, my husband. The children grew up, but I was never able to teach them how to live in peace with each other. I let you down, Robert. You made a mistake when you took me into your home. You saved my daughter and me from a life of poverty, and how did I repay you? Gloria cannot take it anymore. What are you saying, Mother? Don't you dare blame yourself. You did your best. You did all you could. Father looks away, unable to hold back the deluge of tears. Mother's voice, so faint now, calls out to you. And Darren, where is he? With great care, you move closer to your mother. You answer her quietly. You're here, right by her side. Darren, I'm so happy to know you're here. I always knew greatness awaited you, ever since you were a little boy. What a shame I won't be there to see it. I couldn't save the Brante family. I will face my punishment at my final judgment. But don't worry, my dears. I'm ready to stand before the twins. Lydia Bronte's voice trails off. No longer a voice, just a final whisper of life. Will you accept your mother's death, or will you find a way to fight for her life? I can't. Yep. And I can't unite the family. Wonderful. In order to do that, I needed 7 unity. And I needed relations. Even though I actually got those. But I needed the 7 unity. So unfortunately, one of the decisions that just recently happened in the last episode completely screwed this decision. So, bummer. Those are the breaks. But yep, I cannot do that. And I can't share my strength with my mother because I don't have the unity. So there you go. I have to accept the loss. The family will be torn asunder. Lydia will die. I lose opinion with Robert. Gloria loses opinion with me. Nathan loses opinion with me. And I lose 10 willpower. This was not a choice of my choosing. This was the choice put upon me. Gotta love it. Your heart aches and grows numb as you realize the inevitable. There's nothing you can do to help your dying mother. There's nothing that would give her strength. Your family has grown weak from all the spite and strife that has filled your home. Even now, at mother's deathbed, you can feel the enmity, disappointment, and anger driving your family apart. Children, accept this humbly. Her voice trails off. Her eyes grow dull. Her cold hand releases yours. Fall onto the bed and grow still. The last emotion on mother's face is sadness born of exhaustion. A scream of despair rips itself out of Gloria's throat. We did this to her. We fought so much that we killed her. Me, Steven, Darren. Nathan yelps with grief. He runs away, howling. Steven remains still, a living statue chained to the head of the bed. Father slowly sits and takes his late wife's hands in his. His tears flow no more. His eyes stare far into the distance, empty and bleak. Lydia. You mourn her together, but alone. You leave the house to roam the garden, empty and numb. Mother has left this world for the peak of the pillar to face the twins' judgment. She spent all her life preparing for this journey. But now her mortal life has ended. She's no longer here. Never again will she gather her family at the table. Never again will she offer a word of solace in trying times. Never again will she greet you with her quiet, humble smile. You bury your face in your hands. Lydia Brante, your mother, has left this world. That's just... Well, we can say for sure this ending is going to suck. This is going to be a terrible ending. And I'm sorry, but the choices, I really hate some of the decisions that have been forced upon me. Like, I mean, some of the stuff I can understand, but I just don't feel, I feel like this, they really kind of box you into situations and you can't use the skills that you have. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Transformation. It has been a long time since your last encounter with Octavia Milanatis, the most useless noble in the land. You've come to expect to run into her from time to time in the most unusual of circumstances, but Octavia has all but disappeared, vanished completely from Imperial High Society. Then one night, you come home to find a letter bearing the heraldic serpents of the Milanatis dynasty. The handwriting is not Octavia's. This letter was penned by the Archduke himself. We, Duke Tarquinius of the Great Milanatis dynasty, salute you, Judge Darren Brante. We have been made aware of your relationship with our daughter Octavia, but we shall leave the particulars of this relationship for another time. Lady Octavia has disappeared. It has been 1 month since she was last seen in any of our holdings within the city of Anazet. We, Archduke Milanatis, expect you, Brante, to aid us in finding our lost daughter. Tread carefully, lest you attract unwanted attention to this matter. The reputation of the Milanatis dynasty is at stake. Do not fail us, Judge Brante. The Archduke's expectation represents a direct order to find her as soon as possible. To refuse him would spell certain and immeasurable disaster. You begin looking for Octavia immediately. The building where the Circle of Latari used to gather was abandoned long ago. You have no hope of finding any of Octavia's followers there. You decide to search the prefecture archives. You spend an entire morning going through each and every case and report concerned with ancient races and rituals of old, even indirectly. After a long search, you finally stumble upon a familiar name, Alexis L. Lance, a noble from an influential bloodline. You impersonated him when you infiltrated the Circle of Latari 2 years ago. The archives say that El Lance was reported multiple times to be searching for another faith, and claimed he was seeking to understand the design of the twins in his own way. You chuckle upon seeing this. The original El Lance was one of the first humans ennobled by Shar Milanatis himself. The proud name of his forefather is the only thing that has saved the willful Alexis from the Inquisition's pyres. Regardless, he is your only clue to Octavia's whereabouts. You head for the El Lance mansion at once. You tell the servants at the door that you have an urgent matter to discuss with their master. A tall, gaunt nobleman with a thick beard walks down the stairs to greet you, studying you intently during the introduction. His eyes seem to be locked in a perpetual state of pain, but it is different from the ever-familiar pain and suffering of the common lot. You inform El Lance sternly that you are aware of his involvement in the Circle of Latari and hint that his noble origins may not save him from an inquisitorial visit this time. You are looking for Octavia Milanatis. Where is she? The eccentric nobleman let out a rueful chuckle. He is not one to hide the truth. The Circle of Latari is here, within these walls, El Lance tells you, but Lady Milanatis is currently conducting a ritual of the utmost importance. No one may interfere. This rite will return the Latari to this world, or rather, it will return the world to the eternal fold of the Latari. You resolutely walk past El Lance and his intellectualizing and march up the stairs. The servants rush to stop you, but one stern glance is enough to remind them of their lot. Upstairs, you hear the familiar droning chant. You fling open the massive gilded double doors leading to the sitting room. The silhouettes in gilded masks and flowing garbs are here, undulating in their dance and producing all manner of strange sounds. In the center of their dancing circle is Octavia Milanatis, lying prostrate on the floor. Octavia is dying. A sea of blood has already been drained from her slashed wrists, but she's still alive. You break through the circle of the Latari followers and rush to Octavia's side. The Archnean opens her dark eyes to look at you, the world reflected in them growing faint and dim. She wheezes a true death rattle. Octavia's body melts away your arms. Long fingers rest on your shoulder. They belong to Alexis El Lance. Lady Octavia will not be reborn, he tells you. She has left her body and soul alike. She has become Latari. Without a word, the members of the circle slowly part and spread out around the large room. The deed is done, says El Lance. Sending one of our number to commune with the Latari is the most we could have hoped for. Before you can compose yourself, the creature that was once Octavia flows into the room. Everyone falls silent, watching in wonder and awe. You can still recognize Octavia's features in this creature. It seems to float in the air, its body thinner, its skin now gilded and reflective in the candlelight, its eyes larger and bizarrely elongated. Octavia's followers cover their creature's delicate shoulders with a cloak and stand reverently before it. The creature that was once an Archnean approaches you, slowly, without touching the ground at all. Its voice drones, remote and distant, like an echo from a faraway realm. You have borne witness to a rebirth. The one you call Octavia Milanatis is no more. The mind of the Latari now resides within this body. The one called Octavia has cast off the shackles of your narrow world. She has awakened, now free of blood tie, birth, and other such burdens. She sees the world as it exists in the mind of the Latari, the only true world, for all other worlds exist within it. Neither you nor any other denizen of your illusory world can return the one called Octavia to her cage. You must leave human, Darren Brante. The one you seek is no more. Wonderful. Demand that Octavia be returned to her family. Reputation will go up by 1. Octavia Milanatis is betrayed by you, even though she's apparently dead. Let the Latari go. My reputation will go down by 1. Octavia Milanatis has fled, and her opinion goes up by 1, even though she's dead. Okay. Or I can accept your beloved's transformation. My reputation will go down by 1. My willpower will go down by 10. It's now at a 5. And I can't open myself up to the truth because I would have needed the Latari ritual and a greater than equal to 2 with Octavia. I have that, but I don't have the Latari ritual. Don't even know how I could have got it. Ugh. Boy. Hmm. Interesting. I have no idea, honestly. I mean, the best option actually seems like let the Latari go. I mean, my reputation is already in tatters, so I might as well give 2 shits about it now. If I accept my beloved's transformation, we get a spiritual bond, whatever that means. You know what? Sure. My willpower goes down to -5, which means I can't do something coming up. But hey, why not? I've already invested all this time in her, I might as well continue with it. The creature that was once Octavia Milanatis turns away and slowly departs as though swimming through invisible water. You shake off your amazement at witnessing this incredible creature. You tell yourself again and again that this is still Octavia, your beloved. With determination, you hurry after the creature and put your hand on its shoulder. Its body is so delicate now, so fragile, that you fear to shatter it with a single touch. The gaze of its abyssal, almond-shaped eyes is utterly inhuman. You know nothing of what has happened to her, you tell the reborn Octavia, but your feelings for her remain the same. No matter what, you accept her transformation and will remain by her side in your thoughts and actions, even if she is no longer the woman you knew. The creature that calls itself Latari reacts with the shadow of a smile that reminds you of the old Octavia. She would be glad to hear that. We thank you, Darren Brante. The one called Octavia's feelings for you were strong. She will remember you and leave a place for you in the illusory world until it burns away in the flames of her mind. You will remain connected until the world of the one called Octavia Milanatis ceases to exist. But she must walk her path alone. You cannot aid her, nor can you hinder her. The time has come for the one called Octavia to see the world anew. She wishes to bid you farewell. The Latari, this strange creature, suddenly grasps your hand and holds it to its face, inhaling the scent of your skin. Your body reacts to this touch with a flurry of emotions and sensations you cannot even attempt to describe. Finally, the creature once known throughout the province as Octavia Milanatis floats down the stairs and disappears from sight. Dazed, you watch the members of the circle part and walk away without a word. You are soon left alone. As soon as you recover from the experience, you head to Castle Serpenverter. The Archduke will not tolerate any delays when it comes to his daughter's fate. The guards escort you to the ancient throne room, the same room where Octavia once met you herself. On the throne sits the Archduke, sullen and dour. His face resembles that of a bird of prey. His lips are tightly pressed. His body is hunched and tense. You kneel before the reigning lord of the province. I have no time for formalities, Brante. Tell me what happened to Octavia. You remain kneeling, your eyes cast down. You tell him that you've been unable to find Octavia. You search all across the city and question everyone who had ties to the Archduke's daughter, but it was all in vain. You have failed to carry out his order. Archduke Milanatis listens, showing no emotion, but his hand clutches at his scepter harder and harder with every word. Does he even believe what you're saying? You had a service you could have performed for me, Brante, a service that would have brought honor to your family. Instead, you failed me. I will remember this when your father requests to be ennobled by the sword. You shall forget all ties you had to Octavia as well my orders, forever. The high road takes you back to Anazet empty in the dark night. You cannot help but think of Octavia or of the creature she has become. The creature that called itself Latari has disappeared without a trace. The Archduke's men scour the entire city, but cannot find her. Will you ever see her fragile, ethereal silhouette again? I'm sure I won't, because I'm probably going to be dead by then. Yep, tarnished honor. Wonderful. And I'm exhausted. Also great. Octavia's transformation. The Archduke's daughter had transformed into a mysterious creature, neither Arcanian nor human in nature. That's not going to help me at all. The Runaway Bride. This event is a consequence of your previous action. Gloria not married, Gloria not severed all ties, Gloria Brante. For some time now, you've been trying to remain aloof from family matters. The conflict between Stephen and Gloria has not been resolved, and you have refused to take sides. You are confident that they have been plotting and scheming against each other all this time. And now Stephen's efforts are about to bear fruit. All the arrangements have been made. All the negotiations are done. Gloria is about to leave the Bronte home to marry Sir Jose El Pelletier, the noble of the sword who has fallen madly in love with her. Your sister fought tooth and nail, but could not hold her ground against Stephen forever. It was no easy task to arrange this match between a nobleman and a commoner whose father has rejected her. Every single member of El Pelletier's family did their best to change the young noble's mind, but he refused to relent. Stephen did his best too. He spent an eternity convincing the groom's family that Gloria has received an excellent education and will make Sir Jose a fine wife. And so the wedding day has come. The family prepares Gloria for the long journey. The wedding ceremony will be held at a church next to the El Pelletier estate. As tradition demands, no one else is allowed to attend the wedding. Gloria is completely silent today. She meekly allows the servants to change her into the coarse, humble garments her lot demands she wear before the twins, all without saying a word. Gloria, say something, I beg of you. This marriage is the best thing the Bronte family can do for you. You're about to join a noble bloodline. Gloria stares back at Sir Robert, her mother's husband who never became her father. There's bitter sorrow in her gaze. I think it's more likely I'll be added to their family's opulent collection as another exhibit. But still, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Sir Robert. You've destroyed the last of my illusions. My fate rests in the hands of my noble masters, and it always will. Father responds with a heavy sigh. At a loss for words, you prefer not to intervene. Gloria would rather not speak to you anyway. Just outside the door, you hear the neighing of horses and Stephen's excited voice. Gloria, the groom has arrived. The man who enters Gloria's chambers behind Stephen is Gloria's betrothed, Jose El Pelletier himself. His dignified bearing and the thin features of his wistful face betray his noble origins. An elegant earring glints in his ear, a concession to modern high fashion. El Pelletier greets the bride's family with a gallant bow and gently kisses the hem of Gloria's dress. The young noble of the sword takes great pains to remain composed, but standing so close to his future wife, he cannot help but let his emotions show. Good sirs, I fell in love with Gloria the moment I laid eyes on her at that fateful party so long ago. If I may, I give you my word that you are giving her to a respected and prosperous home. And from what Sir Stephen has told me, your family's standing will only benefit if Gloria becomes a member of another family. After all, I am a born nobleman with a hereditary title. No scandalous rumors or gossip regarding my wife's origins can ever harm me. And any man who dares to speak a word of slander against Gloria shall face a duel to the true death. Well said indeed. A most wonderful outcome for everyone involved. Gloria will want for nothing. I will keep her safe from all the world's troubles, free to write poetry, indulge in entertainment, and serve her husband. The enamored noble gazes at Gloria with a tender expression. She hides her eyes behind her unkempt hair. There's a hopeless look about her. Gloria, my love, it's time. Our journey calls. The temple is ready for the ceremony. Very soon we shall announce the sacred intertwining of our destinies to the twins themselves, and then your new home and new life awaits. Gloria looks up. There is an obstinate glimmer in her eyes, so familiar from your childhood years. No! I don't agree to any of this. I am not a member of the Brante family, after all. They can't trade me away as though I were their property. I'm a bastard child of lowly birth, and that's what I'll remain. At a loss for words, El Pelletier turns to Stephen. He expects an explanation. Enough, you're embarrassing us. Am I? As far as you're concerned, all I've ever done is embarrass the Brante family. So deal with it. Gloria breaks free of El Pelletier's embrace. He lets her go, utterly baffled. I'm leaving. I'll live on the street or on Skid Row. I don't care. Goodbye. And goodbye, Darren. I took care of you my entire childhood, but you still wouldn't stand up for me. This isn't my home anymore. I'm gone. I mean, technically, you started off kind of fucking me, but okay. Gloria rushes down the stairs, her rage fueling her speed. No one has the courage to stop her. Stephen barely musters enough composure in the face of this fiasco. What is the meaning of this, Stephen? You told me she agreed to the wedding. Do you have any idea how this will sully the reputation of the El Pelletier dynasty? Enough, Jose. I'm just as flabbergasted as you are. Is this another one of your schemes? Oh my God! I can't trust anyone in this house. Stephen begins to pace around the room, driven by helpless rage. El Pelletier shakes his head. He returns to his carriage with a scornful expression. Gloria has run away from home. You cannot find her, no matter how hard you search the surrounding neighborhoods. Did she find refuge in the seedy underbelly of Anazet? Did she leave the city entirely? You'll never know. The Brante home feels emptier now without her. You wander the halls, lost in memories. You remember Gloria leading you by the hand through the yard and showing you the shining pillar for the very first time. You remember playing together. You remember how you and Stephen went looking for her in the Anazet ruins. You remember the quill and the paper that were your sister's constant companions. You refused to get involved in your sister's your sister's destiny. And now you've lost her. Wonderful. Wonderful. Didn't even get a choice. Wonderful. Wonderful. The Mark of Dishonor. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. You mean the ones that I chose not to turn around and make? Oh, okay. Recent events have dealt a crushing blow to the reputation of the Brante family, who are full of useless people. You have slipped into the realm of infamy and disgrace. So far, the noble families of the city have patiently endured your transgressions, but now you've lost face in their eyes. Noble society is eager to bring your every dusty scandal back into light. Old offenses, ancient grievances, and naturally Father's marriage to Lydia Brante and Gloria's ignoble origins. And they have surely not forgotten that the son of Robert and Lydia Brante, Darren and Nathan, were born out of wedlock. None of the nobles will ever say this to your face, of course. Their behavior will seem perfectly ordinary on the surface. But no matter where you go now, you will be followed by the scornful glances and dismissive whispers. We have to accept this and humbly bear this burden. All hope of being ennobled by the sword is lost. No matter what we do to restore our name, we will never wash away this mark of dishonor. And this was my fault. Yes, this was my fault, of course. Branded by dishonor, the Brante name is dragged through dirt, never to recover. Family strife. The tension at home has become insufferable. Everyone in your family has been driven to the brink by the unending bickering and fighting. Even the smallest family matter is bound to provoke hours of arguments and a drove of mutual insults. How could that happen? Nobody's there. Tonight, you can already hear it from the doorsteps. Screams of fury, shrill sobbing. You watch Father run down the stairs. He is absolutely livid. Twins grant me strength. How am I even supposed to get along with my old family now? Yeah, the one that you choose to not do anything with and let your son run rampant over. You useless prick. You ask what brought it on this time, but all your question does is draw father's ire upon you. Of course you have no idea what's going on. You're doing nothing, Darren. Nothing at all to return peace to this family. You're just fanning the flames. You are the most useless father I have ever seen. You don't defend your wife. You don't defend any of your kids, and you got the audacity to talk about me? Sir, I have been gone this entire time, and you let your son call you out your name left and right. What type of father are you? Father stops himself before he can utter another word. He hurries to this study. The door shuts and locks. At last, the house is quiet, but it is far from calm. He has a distaste of me. Lydia Brante. Well, she's dead. Robert Brante. Fuck him. Nathan Brante. Didn't even know him. Gloria. Disappeared. Willpower -10. Well, we can see where this is going. Thomas's wedding. Oh joy. The Thomas that I put so much effort into saving. I put him in jail, only for him to be found out and not be protected by anyone. Wonderful. Yes, Thomas, look at your wonderful life. This is a day you remember well. It began with a loud, impatient knock at the door. You are surprised to see Thomas paying a visit to your home. There's a joy on his face as your old friend shakes your hand. Brante, it's been a while since I saw you last. I just got back to the city. I visited my folks, then ran straight here. Auden finally stopped hounding me. I sure hope that whole mess is over for good. You invite your friend in, but he gestures for you to wait, a sly smile on his face. I'm in a hurry right now, buddy. So much to do, so little time. I'll explain. I just got back from Sulmina. There was this girl in the village, a shopkeeper named Myri. She gave me shelter and I ended up falling head over heels in love with her. You congratulate your friend and pat him on the shoulder with joy. He laughs happily. My poor ma and pa, all their life they've hoped I'd marry a noblewoman. I used to hope for that too when I was young, but now I know some things matter more than noble titles. Myri's about to be my wife. You offer Thomas his words of congratulation, but he suddenly grows serious. Oh God, what else do you need now? Auden's left me alone, but Myri and I will still be better off far away from Anazet. I wasn't happy serving in the Legion anyway. I thought the nobleman's lot would set me free from suffering and do the same for my descendants, but it just ain't that simple. I was less free than ever. I'll be better off as a commoner again, earning my living by the sweat of my brow. A farmstead might not be an estate, but the high and mighty won't ever set their sights on me again. I'll live my life in peace, just like I want it. I've just got one last request for you, though, Darren. You've done so much for me, but I'd be honored if you'd be a witness to my wedding vows before the twins. You know what? Fuck you, Thomas. I should just say, just screw you and leave. Oh, God. But unfortunately, I need some willpower, so I will honor the bonds of our friendship that has been utterly useless this one last time. Your hand comes to rest on Thomas's shoulder. It would be an honor and privilege for you to be a witness at your friend's wedding. Thomas glows with joy. Wonderful. You've got no idea how much this means to me, Darren. I gotta go get ready. Several days later, you followed your childhood friend to a smallish temple nestled on the edge of the brass district. He's wearing a plain white shirt. Needless luxuries are forbidden at the austere wedding ritual. You are both welcomed by the bride, a blonde-haired young woman, innocence and hospitality written across her trusting face. The bride's parents stand further away, two aging villagers eyeing the streets of the big city with suspicion. Myri, meet Darren Brante, my best friend ever since we were lads. He'll bear witness to our oaths before the twins. The bride greets you with a humble bow. The three of you step inside the temple. You close the door behind you. Tradition demands no one else be allowed to attend the sacred wedding ritual. An amiable aged priest by the name of Ignacius Aventini meets you inside. Thomas and Meyer kneel before the altar. O twins, elder and younger, behold these two as they kneel before you. They beseech you to join them in eternal wedlock. The candle flames dance and quiver. You hear a strange murmur in the temple. The darkness beneath the vault of the temple ceiling swirls into two colossal shades. The bride and groom raise their eyes to them, awestruck. Thomas, dost thou swear thy loyalty to this divine union? I do. The bride assents to the same query. Your turn is next. You stand over the kneeling bride and groom and speak their names as the twins watch over you. Thomas Giro and Mary of Solmina. One of the colossal shades leans over them, looming like a towering sword, while the other bursts in a beacon of blinding light that illuminates the temple from within. Thomas and Mary look into each other's eyes in amazement. From this moment forth, they are bound to one another by divine law, and divine love fills their heart. In your sight of the twins, Thomas Giro and Mary of Solmina are now man and wife, as Darren Brante bears witness. Because he needs support. The stern, solemn ceremony has ended. It is time to celebrate. A humble but happy feast is to be held in the bride's village. As day gives way to night, you and Thomas leave the revel to enjoy a moment of quiet repose on the front porch. Your old friend looks off into the distance, hopeful. Yeah, remember how we fought in that yard over our little brothers? Look how much has happened since then. Both of you laugh as you recall the beginning of your friendship. I'll treasure those memories forever. I will. And you can be sure that my firstborn son's name will be Darren. Ugh, God, it's a terrible name, I assure you. Or at least that's what everybody tells me. The most useless people ever always tell me this. Thomas chuckles, pondering. You and I grew up on the same street, but look how different we turned out. You have a say in other people's fates, Brante. Your name will surely be remembered. Oh boy, it will. But me, I'm still a humble nobody. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I used to be so sure a man could never start over with a clean slate. But I guess I was wrong. I'll never forget you, Darren Brante. And I'll never forget everything you've done for me. A tear runs down your friend's cheek. For the last time, Thomas embraces you. However, he will leave Anazet forever. Will you ever meet him again? Nobody knows. Alright. A soldier's new life. I got an achievement for that. Thomas's new life. You see Thomas off to his new life, far from all the danger and chaos. Fortunately for me, I'm waiting to get shivved. Repentance. The last few months have been marked by a welcome absence of quarreling at the Brante estate. Your only concern these days is the price you have had to pay for this peace. Today you come home, wrung dry after a day of work and worry. Everyone is sound asleep. You are making your way to your bedroom when you hear a suspicious noise coming from Father's study. It is too late for Father to be working. You go to the door of the study, trying to tread softly and turn the knob. The room is brightly lit by the moon. You recognize your brother's clumsy silhouette about Father's desk in the moonlight. Nathan hears you come in and leap to the side in fear. You see something glinting in his hand. Father's dagger. Oh, Darren, it's you. Shush. I just took the dagger for a moment. Don't worry, I know holding a weapon's against my lot. I don't mean anyone any harm. It's for me, actually. I have to go to the twins. Your younger brother clumsily turns the dagger around, holding it against his own body. You try to remain still. Nathan wants to take one of his own lives. But why? I'm not even sure how to say it, brother. I just can't find a place in this world. I'm always an outsider, always a waste of space. Isn't there some place for me in the twins' design? I can't stop thinking about it. I've been trying to understand them for so long. How am I supposed to live in their world? What's my place in their great plan? But I've only made things worse. I meddled with the Markian sect, defied and rejected my lot, indulged in vice, but I found nothing there. The old faith, the new faith, Father Mark's heresy. They gave me all sorts of answers, but none of them worked. There's nothing else left for me now. I've got to go see the twins myself and ask them. I know I'm an affront to their plan just because I'm alive, but I'll repent. I'll pray for their forgiveness. But the twins never forgive you, tell Nathan softly. They never have, and they never will. You will be judged in the hereafter for every false step you take. Your younger brother sighs heavily. I know. Mother taught us that all our lives, but I still have to try. There's no other way. One of my lives isn't too big a price if it works. I can't find any use for them anyway. See you soon, brother. Hope I'll be different when I come back. A cloud passes over the moon. Father's study grows dark, illuminated only by the shining light of the distant pillar. Nathan's body contorts awkwardly. He raises the dagger, aiming it at his own heart. Well, I could just leave him to his own devices and let him do it. I would get some theology, but I would get -5 willpower. Or I could protect him. And if I protect him, I get +1 theology, +1 manipulation. Nathan will be consumed by despair. And then, of course, I will lose 1 more with Nathan. Sure. I don't want to lose any willpower. Plus, who knows? Maybe manipulation will save me somehow. You slowly approach your younger brother. His shaking hands violently squeeze the hilt of the dagger, but your soulful voice has a soothing effect on him. Nathan has no reason to hurry, you assure him. He will meet the twins when his time comes. Trying to draw the twins' attention is an act of grave insolence, you tell him. The twins are always watching. They know everything they need to know. If they have anything Nathan needs to hear, he will hear it when the time is right. Nathan hesitates, but you know your brother well enough to sway him. He lowers the dagger without protest. You take the sharp steel from your brother's hand and put it back where it belongs. Father will never know of this midnight intrusion into his study. You're right, Darren. You're always right. Who am I compared to the twins? I can't even get anything out of a regular person. But how am I supposed to live in this silence? You try to advise your brother on this, but he responds to your words with broody mutterings. So I'm beneath even the lowly lot, it seems. I should just accept it and suffer, but I can't, despite everything Mother taught me. There are no answers out there for me. After that night, Nathan throws all caution to the wind. He spends every day and night in dank taverns surrounded by suspicious characters. His pitiful existence is devoid of all meaning. Your only consolation is that one of your younger brother's lives has been spared. Oh, my theology went up, my manipulation went up. I am canny. Okay. And it is 11:45. Probably actually 11:45 right now. The year 1145, a storm on the horizon. For over a year now, Anazet has been steadily simmering with unrest, like a soup pot over a well-stoked flame. Commoners flock to the squares in droves. The mobs grow bolder, demanding new freedoms and protection under the law. The last straw, insurgents commit brazen acts, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The noble gentry insist that every mob be dispersed by force. They are ready to fight for their ancient privilege, sword in hand. In spite of this enormous pressure, Overseer Gaius Tempest remains highly reluctant to allow any bloodshed. But the common people are already too desperate. Even the age-old fear of the nobility's might is barely enough to keep them in check. More and more people are rejecting the lots and converting to the new faith, not to mention other stranger, more esoteric teachings and belief. New secret societies and clandestine gatherings appear every day. Printed pamphlets litter the streets. Yet no one is rushing to subdue the citizens or punish the city, for now. Father Leonard has transformed the Temple of the Silver Tree into a new believer stronghold. He is no longer afraid to break the ban on preaching the new faith. His sermons now openly challenge the old faith. It seems the Church of the Twins is unable to recognize its great mistake. The lots must be abandoned as relics of the past. The Twins granted everyone the freedom to choose their own path in this world, and I will not stop until this freedom is recognized throughout the Empire. The next patriarch of Magra must be chosen by the parish, not the clergy. This is the will of the Twins, and it must be ours as well. Leonard intends to amend the old order of the church and become patriarch. His opponents, however, are beset by internal struggle and strife. The Inquisition is fighting a myriad of heresies, more of which appear every day. Not even the highest ranks of the faith are free from suspicion. The new faith, meanwhile, is steadily growing in number. People no longer fear being damned to the foot of the pillar for rejecting the divine design. The streets are restless and dangerous. Minds and souls are beset by confusion. The authorities argue and bicker among themselves. Conspiracies plague the city. Time marches on, and the change is coming. It cannot be stopped. Can you find a way to guide it in the right direction? The weight of a new age now rests upon your shoulders. Now we're at Schism. Oh, we've been at Schism, actually. A family matter. What family? For over a year now, Anazet has been slowly simmering with unrest. The feud between the estates, between the old faith and the new, between the law of the empire and noble traditions. Tensions are at an all-time high, waiting for the slightest spark to catch fire and burn. Even your family's affairs have been affected by the growing unrest. It is during these troubled times that the future of your family will be decided. You mean the one that's in ruins? Father shakes you awake early in the morning. He's excited, clutching a letter bearing the imperial seal of the Tempest dynasty. You shouldn't be excited. Wake up, son. Come to the sitting room. A letter has come from Overseer Gaius Tempest. He gingerly breaks the seal and unfolds the missive. To the Honorable Brante family, I, Gaius the Tempest Dynasty, Overseer of the province of Magra, have given due consideration to your petition to have your bloodline ennobled by the sword. You are expected in 1 week at Castle Aniri, as are all petitioners for the sword, where you shall hear my decision firsthand. After finishing the letter, Father turns to you. He looks fatigued. Well, son, it's time for us to be honest with each other about our family. What do you have to say about this? Where do we, the Brontes, stand after so many years? What hopes do we have for the future of this family? None. That's how many. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna sever all ties with the family. Wonderful. Unity is down 2. Wealth is down 2. Reputation down 2. Willpower down 5. The past 7 years have been marked by many life-changing events. The rare joys, the frequent fights, the arguments, the attempts at peace, the losses. Sometimes you have managed to change their minds, and sometimes you've not. But your decisions have made you realize what matters most to you. The future of the Bronte family must be decided here and now. And the Bronte family is done. So we can't become nobles of the sword because the family's in ruins. It would have gave us a lot, but no, that's not gonna happen. So, become members of the Overseer's entourage. The family is in ruins, but we would have needed a reputation of 8 and a unity of 3. And one of those must be true. Family of means, of glorious bloodline. We don't have either of those. Or we could preserve the family. We could have gotten that with a unity of 3, but of course everything was obliterated not too long ago. Lovely. So I'm severing all ties with the family. You coldly point out that the family's chance for a hereditary title is long gone, and the family itself, why, it all but disintegrated years ago. You failed to quell the strife at home. Yes, it was my fault. You could not snuff the coals of enmity that slowly turned your family into disjointed clumps of ash. Because our father was useless. All attempts to put the family affairs in order have led to naught because everyone decided to scheme against each other and then turn to me. And now it is time to admit that the Bronte family is no more. There is deep pain in father's eyes as he meets your gaze, but he does not argue. Which is why you continue. It would only be reasonable to sever what remains of your family ties. It is for your own good. You've all been strangers for a long time. You may live under the same roof, but you are no family. It is time to end these frantic attempts to fix that which is already beyond repair. Nothing good will come of it. Father is silent. A long moment passes before he speaks. As much as it saddens me to say this, you're right, son. We failed. I failed as the family patriarch, and I failed my lot. Yeah, you sure fucking did. I was chasing after a lofty position and neglected all the troubles in our own family. You just couldn't even be a man. I tried to please everyone, and I let everyone down. You tried to please everyone. You didn't even do anything most of the time. You just sat there and get berated by your son. All I can say is that your grandfather was right about everything. You put your hand on father's shoulder. It is not his fault alone, you tell him. All of you made mistakes. You too bear a sizable share of the blame. But I'm the patriarch no matter what. I am responsible for this family. What a disgrace. What an embarrassment I am. Father hides his face in his hands. It takes him a while to stifle his silent sobs and muster enough strength to continue. But enough weakness. It is time to accept the inevitable. Family is gone. We must all seek our own fortunes. I will quit my post at the prefecture and leave Anazetti. I don't even know what you've done this entire time. You helped me out once, I think, but that was about it. The city has grown far too unsettled as of late, but if any of you ever want to visit my home, my door will be open to you. Even in the end, you're still useless. You leave father alone with his grief in the sitting room. There's nothing you can do to help him now. You begin to pack your things. It is time to move out of the house that stopped being your home long ago. You will rent a lodging for now, and then you'll see what comes next. A carriage awaits you at the gate. You take one last look at your parents' house, the place that was your home and shelter for so many years. Your childhood games in the garden, your loud, happy dinners. I don't remember those. Your quiet conversations on the porch. Don't remember that either. The warm embrace of your family. Sure as fuck don't remember that. It is time to leave it all behind. You offer your family no farewells as you depart. They are no longer a part of your life. From this day forward, you must fend for yourself. Wonderful. Wonderful. Family falls apart. The Brante family is no more. Final preparations. The carriage takes you further down the city's narrow streets. They are filled with noble carriages and commoners hurrying about their business, but the driver skillfully avoids them all. You watch the city uneasily from behind the carriage doors. The past few months have been so tense and challenging. They felt like a single unbearable moment. You had to face one ordeal after another, and Auden's case sometimes fell by the wayside. But you have no doubt that the outcome of this case will determine your fate. Your previous encounters with the haughty commander have assured you of that. Well, I'm screwed, because I don't have any type of willpower. So there's that. And that's exactly what I needed. I needed willpower, and I don't have it. So frustrating. That's so frustrating. Alright. The time to strike Auden down is coming soon. Right now, you need to make your final preparations. Your gut tells you that the time is running out. Either you seize the initiative, or Auden will destroy you himself. But what should you focus on at this critical juncture? You consider your options. I can bide my time. You rub your hands together in satisfaction. Soon, very soon, Auden will be the only one aware of his inevitable downfall. Yeah, okay. You tell the driver to take you home. You will take this time to rest up and regain your strength before the most trying challenge of your life. I am so screwed. This is definitely the end. The hour has come. You stand at the window of your office and watch the living streets below, exhausted. For over a year, Anazet has been steadily simmering with unrest, like a soup pot over well-stoked flames. Like a soup pot over well-stoked flames. The endless feud between the Archduke and the Overseer, the first trials against nobles, insurgencies flaring up all across the Empire. Grim, heavy, dark red storm clouds now hang in the sky above Anazet. Preachers of the new faith fill the streets, urging the people to reject the lots. The abbot of the temple at the Silver Tree, Father Leonard, has turned the city's most ancient church into a new believer stronghold. Commoners flock to squares in droves. The mob grow bolder and bolder as they demand new freedoms and protections under the law. Commoners have begun forming armed militias. The last straw insurgents commit brazen attacks, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The nobles of the sword demand that every mob be dispersed by force. I feel like I've read all this before. You cast a glance back at your desk, still covered with piles of paperwork for Auden's case. You've been working on it for over 2 years now. This case will have to reach a conclusion someday, but when? Will you be able to free yourself from the mortal peril into which it has drawn you? Your thoughts are interrupted by heavy footsteps and clacking hooves. The square in front of the prefecture quickly clears as workers and merchants do their best to flee. The Legion Battalion is advancing on the prefecture. It is led by Dorius Auden, on horseback and in full armor. He rides right up to the steps. The square resounds with his commanding voice. I am Dorius Auden, High Commander of this province, and I have come to demand justice. I have proof that a judge named Darren Brante has been collecting slander for years, seeking to tarnish the Auden name. I have already warned this judge. I will not stand idly by in the face of an insult. To accuse me is to undermine the rule of the Archnians, our noble traditions, and the sacred order of the Empire itself. I demand that a stop be put to this campaign of defamation. I expect Judge Brante to burn his so-called case right now. Until that happens, my battalion is under orders to treat all those who serve at the prefecture as traitors to the crown. No one will leave this building until I see these vile accusations against an Archnian dynasty burned to ash. Elborn comes rushing into your office, as useless as ever. He is pale as a ghost, but trying his hardest to remain composed. Darren, Auden caught us off guard. I knew we should have begun this trial much sooner. Yeah, you probably should have actually done something. He has the upper hand now. No one will come to our aid. We must give Auden our reply. It's all up to you now, Sir Brante. This is it, the moment of truth. How will you respond to Auden's ultimatum? Man, if only there was like a higher judge that I could go to who could actually use some of his authority, unlike the first year judge who just came here recently. Burn the case. I have no options. Without saying a word, you stare out the window again. The sky is dark and overcast, thunder echoing in the distance. The Legion soldiers stand still, awaiting new orders. Auden's horse is right by the stairs as he awaits your reply. The past several years flash before your eyes. Cases and verdicts, threats and promises, decisions and deeds. Where have they led you, your career, your province? How will you approach the task of rebuffing one of the mightiest Archnians in the province? It will all be decided now. I can't charge Auden with crimes because even though I have evidence against Auden, justice isn't high enough. It's off by 1. Justice is a 10, though. So it had to be greater than or equal to 7, but less than 10. So unfortunate. And relations, Augustin Elborn is not betrayed. He's not. So I've met all the conditions except justice. I can't summon Auden to trial because I have evidence against Auden. Conditions not met. So because I have evidence against Auden, I can't do that. and justice isn't high enough. So there's that. I can't bring Auden to the Court of Honor because evidence against Auden, the Court of Honor ban, and of course I'm branded by dishonor, so I can't do that. My career is also not high enough to do it, so there's that. I can't call Gaius Tempest's aide, the person that I've only just recently met but have several decisions that apparently affected him. Evidence against Auden, so I guess I couldn't have evidence against Auden. The Court of Honor is banned. I couldn't be branded by dishonor, and I have patronage of the powerful. So, and my career had to be greater than or equal to 8, but less than 10. Oh, God. That is a very serious amount of bullshit. That's a very serious amount of bullshit. And what's beautiful about this is that in all of these decisions, none of my stats come into play. None of them. I am a master diplomat, and it does nothing. I have, I think, a 10 in manipulation. Nothing. I knew Octavia, but she turned into a elf goddess. Something. I don't know. She made it with Cthulhu, bled to death, and now she's transcended the world. Fuck everybody else, you know. Even though she supposedly loved me and treated me as an equal. She just did not even remotely care to even contact me about this decision. So, there's that. But yeah, this is the breaks. This is the breaks. So, we're gonna have to burn the case. You're not strong enough to oppose Auden. You forfeit the struggle and do as the Arcnean orders. The hour has come. You stare out the window, helplessly. All those years of service as a judge spent trying to achieve balance, siding with the common estate while avoiding the ire of the mighty, gathering influence and climbing higher while doing your duty as a judge. You have been befuddled by a twist of fate, by schemes and plots, and you failed to maintain that fragile balance. You have failed to protect justice in your home province. The common people are so desperate, they are ready to take their rights by force, but the law is too weak to govern commoners, nobles, and Arcneans alike. We didn't pass any laws in order to help the Arcneans or to deal with the Arcneans. We didn't pass any laws that set a precedent to help the commoners. It's such a shame that I never made any of those decisions that I actually made. You will not be able to convict Auden, no matter how many crimes he's committed. The grip of tradition is too strong. The Arcneans are and will remain immune to the rule of law, even though I pass laws against the Arcneans. On the other hand, you've also failed to garner enough influence and establish enough connections within the aristocracy who I met 2 days ago. You've not earned their respect or curried their favor. Without powerful patrons, Auden, your sworn enemy, cannot be defeated. There's only one thing left to do: acquiescence to Auden's demands. Your hands shake as you collect all the papers on Auden's case in your office. You walk down the stairs to the door of the prefecture. Auden meets you face to face. He dismounts his horse, but clad in full suit of ancient armor, the Arcnean is still a head taller than you. There you are at last, Brante. I expect nothing less. You humans are predictably apt at finding your proper place soon enough. Now destroy those despicable scribbles. A Legion soldier hands you a burning torch. Humble and obedient, you bring the fire closer to the papers containing Auden's case. All the evidence you have, all your statements, it all burns away in an instant. The wind lifts the ashes and scatters them across the square. That is what you have done the moment your upstart of a prefect instructed you to undertake this so-called case. Still, my mercy is known far and wide. Confess your lies and slanders to the entire city, and you will be forgiven. Your stomach roils. It is hard to breathe. It takes all the effort you can muster to take a deep breath, and then you do as he asks. You submit to the highborn Archnean's truth. You gathered slanderous rumors, a task beneath a true noble's honor. Did everyone hear that? That's enough, Brante. You're free to go. Return to your cases of petty thefts and stolen trinkets, and do not meddle in the affairs of your betters. Auden springs back into the saddle and commands the battalion to return to the barracks. You remain in the square, unmoving, your spirit broken. From behind you, Elborn's hands come to rest on your shoulder. Darren, you did all you could. It pains me to say it, but we cannot bring Auden to justice or make all the estates equal under the law. We must accept this defeat. We weren't ready. I'm so sorry for getting you involved in this hopeless case. I wanted to change the Empire, but instead I doomed you to humiliation by doing absolutely nothing. I fear Auden's case was our last and only chance to avert a riot in Anisette. Soon the humans' patience will run out, and they will explode in defiance of this lawless tyranny. If only there was a judge that we could speak to. And no one will be able to prevent this fire and blood. You may go, Brante. Brace yourself for the tough times ahead. Take care. Elborn embraces you like a pup. Get the fuck off of me. You watch him leave, a lonely, bent old man. The sky over Anisette splits apart, showering the dust-covered streets with long-awaited rain. May this city burn to ash. A lesson writ in blood. Tonight is gray, miserable, and gloomy. You walk down the steps of the prefecture, dragging your feet to your carriage. Now that Auden's case has met an ignoble end, your sense of duty seems to be the only thing keeping you at the office. Cases, complaints, petitions, it's all a blur. Another day has ended. Anisette is growing more restless by the day. The commoners cannot endure the tyranny and humiliation of the nobles any longer. More and more of them are refusing to obey, taking up arms and gathering in the squares. The noble militias of Anisette is making preparations to suppress the riots. The new believers are marching through the city. The last straw insurgents continue to incite unrest, striking again and again. It pains you to think that you could have made a difference if only you had not lost against Auden. A voice you do not recognize calls out to you. As you turn around to look, something heavy hits you on the head. The world grows dark before your eyes. Another blow lands, this time in your stomach. You fall to the ground, gasping for air. A pain and nausea crumble your body into a tight ball. Your ears are ringing so loudly you can barely hear the voice above you, but you still recognize your assailants as Legion officers. They bind your wrists and ankles and put a sack over your head. A carriage arrives. They drag you inside and shove you into the seat. You are alone with squeaky wheels and the clacking of hooves. You hear the city gate opening. They are taking you out of the city. They drag you out of the carriage and remove the sack. You find yourself on waste ground outside the city limits, lit by the torches around by silhouettes. You recognize a number of aristocrats. Magistrate Remy L. Vermin is here, as is Frederick L. Liberius, head of the noble militia. So many people you've angered. But the biggest silhouette of them all belongs to Dorius Auden, who stands right before you. How was the trip, Sir Darren Brante? I took the liberty of sending my personal carriage to pick you up. I didn't want you to miss our appointment. Auden leans down to you and looks you in the eye. I remember you as a young boy. I remember how insolent you were even back then. I knew we'd fight one another eventually. Well, time has come. Surely you didn't expect me to forgive your insult just like that, did you? You renounced your case, yes, but my honor as an Archnean demands satisfaction. You've done more than merely insult my bloodline. You've questioned the power of those who rule this world. You are alone. No one will protect you. You knew what you were doing, Brante, and now you're going to pay. I challenge you to a duel. The Court of Honor hereby accepts the challenge. Sir Auden may rightfully defend his honor in a duel to the true death. Both parties shall fight blindfolded. I'm invisible, though. I'm sure I will win this. Auden takes off his jacket and draws his sword. He has clearly done this many times before. A blindfold is placed over his eyes. Your head is covered by the same sack, this time knotted tightly around your neck. Dorius of the Auden dynasty and Darren of the Brante bloodline will now cross swords in mortal combat. I summon their ancestors to bear witness to their duel. May their blood tides meet in sacred battle and determine their truth. May the younger witness our trial and behold the power of his inevitable law. A hand shoves a sword into yours. You can barely breathe through the thick sackcloth. Your hands are shaking, unwilling to fight. You probe the darkness with the tip of your blade, unsure where to strike. Let the battle begin. Your arms grow tired. The sword feels incredibly heavy and unwieldy. You fall silent, trying to hear your enemy moving. Something rustles ahead. You step back as soon as you hear it, holding the blade in front of you. Still trying to run from me, eh, Brante? I'm afraid it's too late for that. You swing at the voice, but your blade slices nothing but air. You take a quick hop backwards. Your head shrinks into your shoulders. You cannot allow yourself to breathe, waiting for another strike. Don't listen to him. Surprised by the voice, you take a deep breath. The steel band you had felt around your chest is suddenly shattered. You cannot possibly defeat him. You can't accept your death with dignity. Prove you're worthy of the Brante name. You square your shoulders. The rope around your neck bothers you no longer. You still cannot see a thing, but you've no need for a sight now. Keep your feet steady. Get your sword up. I'm here with you. A step, a swing, a jab. You know where to strike. Your blade sinks into flesh. Ah, pathetic human runt. That's it. I'm done playing with you. Something slices through the air. You deflect it. Again, once more. You are not in command of the blade. The blade commands you. You feel the blade swing in front of your face. You move to parry it, but your sword meets nothing. Then his sword stabs you straight in the heart. You take a few slow steps back. The darkness in your eyes gives way to light. A light brighter than anything you've ever seen before. You keep the sword in your hands until the very last moment you die on your feet. All is well, Darren. Come to me. Your earthly life is over. You leave the world forever and face the judgment of the twins. Fuck this world, fuck the twins, fuck them all.
Neither side could overcome the other. The fire of the revolt could not be extinguished. The province, and then the whole empire, fell on troubled times.
Outcome of the revolt. For years after your death, Anazet continued to simmer like a cook pot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, gradually gave way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. The rebels took up arms and seized the city for themselves, led from the shadows by the last straw. When the moment of truth came, there was no soul in Anazet strong-willed enough to spearhead the raging revolt. The opposing factions soon reached a stalemate in which neither side could prevail completely. Anazet refused to surrender, but after a prolonged siege, Gaius Tempest finally broke the city's defenses, and the Legion entered the rebellious city of Anazet. The insurgents fled. The mobs disappeared from the square and the streets. The leaders of the revolts were hanged. But the city's capture made even more trouble for the overseer. The unrest was beaten down, but not suppressed completely. New riots followed one by one, as the common folk, the new faith priests, and many nobles of the mantle continued to wage a desperate struggle against the old authorities. Gaius Tempest responded to the seething rebellion with more executions and threats, but dissent continued to grow. As the unrest in the city smoldered, the rest of the empire eventually caught wind of the Anazet revolt. Nearby migrant towns and villages saw their first riots soon after. Chaos began to spread across the empire. The empire responded to this enduring turmoil with ruthless action, but even after several villages and towns were drowned in blood, the riots only intensified. The dominance of the emperor and his dynasty began to wane. Power struggles broke out between the powerful nobles in the capital. Then, a shocking event shook the empire to its core. Emperor Uthar II was found dead in his palace, never to be reborn. His heirs, Gerion and Flavius, both disappeared without a trace. With no one to take the throne, the noble dynasties accused one another of plotting against the Tempest's rule. Feuds and internecine strife became commonplace. And so began an age of anarchy, a time of massacre and riots, conflict and bloodshed, chaos and unrest. There were no winners in this war of all against all, only survivors. The empire entered a dark and terrible age. What became of me? You have made your last and most important choice. Was your death worth it? Could you have chosen a different path? Either way, there's no going back. Your fate is sealed. There's no returning from the hereafter. And so you bid farewell to your mortal life. Everything you fought for, everything you strove for, all that is behind you now. You're on your way to the Shining Pillar to await the judgment of the twins. You can no longer change the world's destiny. The choices you made and the deeds you did have left an indelible mark. The world will remember the life and suffering of Darren Brante. The hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the Shining Pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it's gone. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The older twin gazes upon you full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You've ascended from the mortal realm. From here, you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the Shining Pillar. But first, you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them. All the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived? I think I do despise them, actually. You hate the world the twins created, as well as your entire mortal life. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fills the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The older twin asks once more, what was your life to you? Suffering. Struggle. Pretty much, yeah. Suffering. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? Unfortunately, I lived for other people, and it didn't help me at all. I tried to live for justice. That also didn't work out. Other people. The younger gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? Nothing. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment, but the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? It became worse. The younger twin is silent, his eyes, two swords piercing your soul. The older twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question. The very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true final death. What determined your destiny? Yeah, the world around me. I mean, on the one hand, I would like to say that my decisions turned around and did this, and some of it that is true, but a lot of it was just completely out of my hand. Like I had to accept what was going on. The twins' gods exchange a glance that lasts a brief moment and all eternity. Then the hand of the older twin reaches out to you, glowing with light and warmth. The gods offer you an unprecedented opportunity to change your destiny, to rewrite the book of your life. Would you like to take a different path in life? Huh. Interesting. Yes. I was just gonna do another playthrough, but if you offer to give me omnipotence and omnipotence and change things, sure. You reach out to the massive hand of the elder. It lifts you up, and you are enveloped in warmth and love. You want to stay like this forever. But you must return to the life you knew. The elder twin's hand releases you. You fly down to the mortal world once more. Interesting. Huh. Let us continue. I was actually going to go ahead and stop it right there, but let's continue for a second. Oh, so that's what it means. Okay. So yeah, I'll go ahead and actually redo things. I'm not sure what I'm going to choose. I'm essentially going to redo my youth. I think it's my youth that I need to redo. Because that's when I was going to college, and that's where I came across the decision where I could join the Lotless or go the Theologian's path and stuff like that. I might have to go back to adolescence, I'm not sure. But I don't know. Huh. You let me know what you think, guys. So yeah. Let me know what you think. Should I turn around and go back to my adolescence and change what path I want to take altogether? Quite frankly, I think I should just say fuck the noble path, and I should probably take up theology and go the path of the faith. But then maybe I should go the route of the Lotless. I mean, that was actually the decision that I wanted to do. I didn't know that this was going to turn out like this. I thought I would have more opportunities to work with, other people and stuff like that, or with the rebellion, and that turned out to not be the case. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. But yeah, let me know what you think. So yeah, again, I mean, I do enjoy this game. I really do. But I do feel like sometimes it's just the choices. Like the choices and the stats you have. Come on. Like, I mean, really, like, that whole last 5 or 6 decisions or whatever had absolutely nothing to do with any of my stats at all. And it would have been really nice if, because I have a 20 in diplomacy, I could get myself out of these situations, or I could try to come up with something or whatnot. And I am going to leave Olivia alone because she's Cthulhu's daughter, apparently. So yeah, I'm going to just not stray down that path at all. I will use her, But other than that, I'm not going to go down that path again. So I'm definitely not doing that. And I don't think anybody can convince me of that. I'm sorry. But that was useless. That was absolutely useless to me. I think it may have came in play once, and that was it. But other than that, totally useless to me. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you want to see a certain playthrough, maybe I'll do a poll or something. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here because I really have to go to bed because I have to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, if you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I have plenty of things on my channel, and I will have plenty of other things on my channel in the future, including what apparently will be more of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to, of course, come at me for my rants and stuff like that, it's definitely okay. I probably deserve it at this point. But yeah, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave it in the comment section. Whether they be nice or not, I will reply. And yeah, thank you for watching. And once again, I say this, I feel like I've said this a lot now, but I really do appreciate the views, and I've appreciated all the comments that I've received. I appreciate all the subscribers. And even still, as much as I've hated the outcome, I do appreciate this game. It's really, really good. And I've played a lot of choice of games, and even with the gripes I have about, the way certain things are structured, the way certain decisions are panning out, that does not mean I think it's a bad game. I still think it's a great game. It's a really good game, and it's a really good game because it makes me feel that way. It infuriates me that I have to make these decisions or whatever. But that just means it's that much of a good story that it infuriates me by the decisions that much, and I wish I could have it my way. But of course you can't. But we're going to do some things, and we're going to, we're going to get better at this. We're going to get better, and we're going to come up with some interesting solutions to this, I can tell. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next series of maybe the priest Sir Darren Brante, or perhaps the lotless Sir Brante. So, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. See ya.